listening to Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Please remain calm. This is a nationwide informational update. The time is 1600 hours. This broadcast will repeat every 30 minutes until further notice. The Department of Public Health and Security has issued an alert regarding a series of unusual neurological incidents reported across several counties. Medical authorities are investigating cases of individuals exhibiting symptoms of severe memory impairment, dissociation, and non-responsive behavior. Citizens are advised to continue normal activities while maintaining awareness of their surroundings. If you observe individuals exhibiting prolonged vacant staring, inability to respond to direct questions, or repetitive movement patterns, do not approach. Contact local authorities via the designated emergency line. Again, this is a precautionary measure. There is no cause for alarm at this time. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Please stand by for an important update. The Centers for Disease Control has confirmed 27 cases of an unidentified neurological condition in Lakeside County. Affected individuals display complete amnesia regarding personal identity, location awareness, and basic cognitive functions while maintaining motor capabilities. Medical personnel describe patients as physically healthy but mentally unresponsive. Blood work and standard testing reveal no known pathogens. Brain scans show unusual patterns in the hippocampus and frontal lobe regions. As a precautionary measure, residents of Lakeside County are advised to limit outdoor activities until further notice. If you or someone in your household experiences sudden memory lapses, confusion about identity, or prolonged periods of unresponsiveness, do not attempt self-treatment. Call the emergency medical hotline immediately. This broadcast will resume in 30 minutes with additional information as it becomes available. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 2200 hours. The Department of Public Health has expanded its advisory to include the coastal regions of Westport, Sandpoint, and Harborview. Residents in these areas should remain indoors after sunset until morning hours. Authorities report an increasing number of individuals exhibiting symptoms consistent with severe dissociative states. Affected persons appear physically unharmed but demonstrate an inability to recognize family members, engage in conversation, or recall basic personal information. The following behavior patterns should be reported immediately to local authorities. An individual standing motionless for extended periods. Repetition of phrases or movements without variation. Absence of emotional response to direct stimuli. A walking in geometric patterns without apparent destination. A staring fixedly at the night sky. Do not attempt to interact with or assist individuals displaying these behaviors. Maintain a minimum distance of 20 feet and contact emergency services. This is not a test of the emergency broadcast system. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is a nationwide informational update. The National Institute for Neurological Disorders has officially classified the emerging condition as cognitive deletion syndrome, or CDS. Research teams are working to identify the cause and develop treatment protocols. The syndrome progresses in three distinct phases: Phase 1, a mild disorientation and short-term memory lapses; Phase 2, progressive amnesia and personality dissolution; Phase 3, complete cognitive emptying with maintained physical function. Initial reports indicate the syndrome may be transmissible through prolonged close contact with affected individuals. As such, the following preventative measures are now mandatory. Avoid gatherings of more than 5 people. Maintain physical distance from strangers exhibiting unusual behavior. Do not share personal items or food. Report any memory gaps or unusual dreams to your local health authority. The Centers for Disease Control emphasizes that panic will only hamper containment efforts. Citizens are reminded to follow official guidelines and disregard unverified information from non-government sources. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 0600 hours. Attention citizens. The Department of Homeland Security has established quarantine zones in the following locations to Lakeside County full perimeter. Westport Harbor District, a Sandpoint Central and Coastal areas. Northern Harborview extending 6 miles inland. Travel to and from these regions is restricted to essential personnel with level 4 clearance or higher. Checkpoints have been established on all major highways and secondary routes. Reports from quarantined areas describe an increasing number of individuals in Phase 3 of cognitive deletion syndrome. These individuals retain basic motor functions but display no signs of self-awareness, memory, or emotional response. Medical authorities have observed that CDS progression accelerates during nighttime hours. All citizens nationwide are now advised to remain indoors between the hours of 2000 and 0600. Close all windows. Draw all curtains. Minimize exposure to the open sky. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is a mandatory update. While scientific teams monitoring the quarantine zones have detected unusual atmospheric readings coinciding with CDS outbreaks, preliminary analysis suggests the presence of an airborne agent that may affect neurological function. As a precautionary measure, all citizens should implement the following protocols. Seal windows and doors with available materials. Create a safe room using plastic sheeting and adhesive tape. Wear masks when moving between sealed environments. Filter all incoming air if possible. Avoid direct observation of the night sky. The National Guard has been deployed to assist local authorities with distribution of emergency supplies. Citizens should prepare for potential service disruptions in the coming days. Remember, your cooperation ensures collective safety. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is a public safety notice. The Department of Health has confirmed 412 cases of cognitive deletion syndrome across 17 states. The highest concentration remains in coastal areas, with inland spread following major waterways. Research indicates that individuals in Phase 3 of CDS exhibit unusual behaviors between the hours of midnight and 3 a.m. They may gather in open spaces, arrange themselves in geometric formations, turn their faces toward the night sky, remain completely motionless for extended periods, emit low-frequency sounds below normal human hearing range. Citizens observing these behaviors should immediately retreat to a secure location and notify authorities via the emergency hotline. Do not attempt documentation or close observation. The CDC stresses the CDS is not a traditional pathogen. Standard decontamination procedures have proven ineffective. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Stand by for critical information. A joint statement from the National Science Foundation and Department of Defense acknowledges detection of unexplained phenomena coinciding with CDS outbreaks. Instruments have recorded localized gravitational anomalies, electromagnetic disturbances, and thermal inversions in affected areas. These phenomena appear most intense during the hours of darkness. The following terminology has been officially adopted. Areas with confirmed CDS cases are now designated as compromised zones. Individuals displaying Phase 3 symptoms are classified as cognitive voids. Authorities emphasize that cognitive voids should not be approached under any circumstances. While they appear physically unchanged, they no longer possess human consciousness as previously understood. Citizens are reminded that emergency resources are limited. Only report genuine emergency situations. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 1400 hours. Attention all citizens. The President has declared a state of national emergency. Executive Order 793 has been activated, granting emergency powers to federal agencies for management of the CDS crisis. Scientific teams have established correlation between CDS progression and proximity to cognitive voids. Evidence suggests the syndrome may be transmitted through direct physical contact with affected individuals, prolonged verbal interaction with affected individuals, visual observation of Phase 3 behavioral patterns, presence in locations where Phase 3 gatherings have occurred. The following measures are now mandatory nationwide. Observe curfew from 1800 to 0600 hours. Cover all windows with opaque materials. Avoid extended eye contact with strangers. Report memory gaps and lost time immediately. Monitor household members for early symptoms. Failure to comply with these measures constitutes a federal offense under the Emergency Powers Act. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is a special bulletin. The Institute for Advanced Scientific Research has released preliminary findings on the nature of cognitive deletion syndrome. Evidence suggests CDS is not a virus or bacterial agent as previously theorized. Affected individuals show no cellular damage or immune response typical of infection. Instead, researchers describe the syndrome as a progressive consciousness evacuation with no known medical precedent. Brain activity in Phase 3 cognitive voids shows patterns inconsistent with normal human function. While basic autonomic systems remain operational, higher cognitive regions display activity described as alien and geometrically ordered, rather than chaotic or absent. The term cell eater has emerged in classified documentation to describe the theoretical entity responsible for consciousness extraction. This terminology is not officially sanctioned but has been adopted by field personnel. All citizens are reminded that speculation regarding the nature of CDS is counterproductive and potentially harmful to containment efforts. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Mandatory attention required. The Department of Homeland Security has expanded quarantine zones to include 37 metropolitan areas. Military checkpoints have been established at all entry and exit points. Reports from secured observation posts indicate increasing numbers of cognitive voids gathering in public spaces after midnight. These gatherings follow precise mathematical patterns not immediately apparent to casual observation. Drone surveillance has confirmed that cognitive voids maintain normal body temperature during daylight hours but register significant thermal reduction after sunset. Infrared imaging shows affected individuals cooling to near ambient temperature while maintaining mobility. Citizens in non-quarantine zones are advised to report any of the following: individuals walking in perfect straight lines or precise circles, groups standing in triangular or pentagonal formations, people who appear to cast diminished shadows, unexplained cold spots in otherwise temperature-controlled environments. Your vigilance protects collective security. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 2300 hours. This is a Level 3 alert. Monitoring stations have detected atmospheric disturbances, consistent with previous CDS outbreak patterns spreading to previously unaffected regions. All citizens must move to interior rooms away from windows and exterior walls. Disable all electronic devices except emergency radios. Dim or extinguish all lights. Remain silent until the all-clear signal. Preliminary studies indicate that soul eaters, entities associated with CDS may detect human presence through brainwave activity, particularly patterns associated with fear, curiosity, and direct observation. The Department of Defense suggests the following mental exercise. Focus on simple, repetitive thoughts. Avoid imagination, memory recall, or problem solving. Think of yourself as empty, quiet, and still. This protective posture should be maintained until 0500 hours. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Please stand by. The National Security Council has implemented Protocol Midnight Shield effective immediately. All civilian communications networks have been temporarily suspended to prevent misinformation and panic. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7 is now your sole source of verified information. Regular updates will continue on standard schedule. Citizens should be aware that individuals in Phase 2 and Phase 3 of CDS may attempt to use familiar social patterns to establish proximity. They may claim to be friends or family members, request entry to secured locations, ask personal or emotionally provocative questions, stare directly at eyes or temples for extended periods. Do not engage with these approaches regardless of apparent familiarity. Phase 3 individuals retain access to the memories of their former selves, but no longer possess the consciousness associated with those memories. Report all contact attempts via secure emergency channels. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Urgent update. Scientific teams monitoring quarantine zones have confirmed the presence of non-biological entities through specialized equipment. These entities, temporarily classified as soul eaters pending official terminology, have the following confirmed characteristics: no visible physical form in normal light spectrum, detectable through gravitational distortion and electromagnetic anomalies, a capacity to interface with human neural systems, a pattern of systematic consciousness extraction, apparent collective intelligence. The specific mechanism of consciousness transfer remains under investigation. Current theory suggests the entities convert human awareness into a form of energy that sustains their presence in our dimension. Citizens are reminded that this information is provided for context only. The practical response remains unchanged. Follow containment protocols and avoid all contact with affected individuals. Your compliance ensures survival. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is the final update of the day. The Department of Human Services has established secure shelters in all major population centers. Citizens experiencing early CDS symptoms should report to these facilities for monitoring and support. Researchers have observed that children under the age of 7 show greater resistance to CDS progression. Families with young children should maintain normal sleep and activity patterns for these individuals while implementing standard safety measures. The following coping strategies are recommended for all citizens. Maintain physical activity during daylight hours. Engage in concrete, practical tasks rather than abstract thinking. Verbalize thoughts to yourself throughout the day. Record daily activities in written form. Avoid prolonged silence or isolation. Remember, your mind remains your own as long as you actively claim it. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7 will continue transmission throughout the night. Stay tuned for the midnight advisory. This concludes today's scheduled information. Be vigilant, be compliant, be human. This is a Level 4 national emergency. Martial law is now in effect in Zones 3 through 11. You must comply with curfew or risk detainment. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 0800 hours. The National Security Council convened throughout the night to address the escalating cognitive deletion syndrome crisis. International reports confirm similar incidents across 32 countries, with consistent patterns of symptoms and progression. Effective immediately, the following measures have been implemented. All civilian travel is restricted to a 10-mile radius from primary residence unless authorized with Level 3 clearance or higher. Gatherings of more than 3 individuals are prohibited outside of registered household units. All educational institutions will remain closed until further notice. Military personnel have been granted authority to detain any individuals exhibiting suspicious behavior. Non-essential businesses must cease operations within 24 hours. Citizens must carry identification documents at all times. Checkpoints have been established on major roadways and will operate continuously. Remember, cooperation ensures collective survival. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is an update on containment efforts. Satellite and drone surveillance has detected complete cessation of normal activity in 17 metropolitan regions. The following cities show no signs of conventional human movement patterns to Westport and surrounding coastal communities. Lakeside County in its entirety. Central Business District of Harborview. Northern Quadrant of Sandpoint and entire population of River Junction. Thermal imaging reveals thousands of mobile figures with body temperatures significantly below normal human range. These entities maintain human appearance and utilize existing infrastructure but do not engage in expected behaviors such as seeking food, shelter, or communication. Military forces have established perimeter barriers around affected zones. No rescue operations are currently planned. Citizens with family members in these regions are advised that contact should not be attempted under any circumstances. The Department of Defense reminds all citizens that information security is vital. Do not discuss observations or experiences with unauthorized individuals. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Stand by for critical information. The Centers for Disease Control has released updated guidance on cognitive deletion syndrome progression based on clinical observation. The infection timeline has been revised as follows. Phase 1. Initial exposure to Phase 1 completion, 12 to 18 hours. Phase 2 personality dissolution to cognitive emptying, 4 to 6 hours. Phase 3 complete transition to cognitive void status instantaneous. Once Phase 3 is reached, the affected individual permanently loses all characteristics that define their humanity. They retain physical appearance and basic motor functions but serve as vessels for non-biological entities now classified as soul eaters. The following symptoms indicate imminent transition to Phase 3. Reciting numbers or coordinates without context, drawing or arranging objects in precise geometric patterns, and speaking in multiple voices simultaneously, mimicking the exact movements of nearby humans with several seconds delay. Complete cessation of blinking for periods exceeding 5 minutes. If you observe these behaviors in any individual, evacuate the area immediately and report the location to emergency authorities. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 1400 hours. Attention citizens. Scientific teams monitoring cognitive void activities report disturbing new behaviors within quarantine zones. Drone footage confirms that Phase 3 individuals have begun systematic organization efforts. Thousands of cognitive voids have been observed, arranging themselves in complex geometric formations covering several city blocks, converting public spaces into precisely measured grid patterns. The dismantling electronic equipment and reassembling components into unknown devices, creating elaborate markings on buildings and roadways visible only under ultraviolet light. Standing in concentric circles around tall structures during nighttime hours. Thermal scans of these gatherings reveal dramatic temperature reductions in the surrounding atmosphere, creating visible condensation phenomena and localized weather disturbances. The Department of Energy reports power consumption in affected zones has increased by 800% despite the absence of normal human activity. The source of this energy drain remains under investigation. Citizens in adjacent regions should report any unexplained power fluctuations or equipment malfunctions immediately. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The President has authorized the release of preliminary scientific findings. Research teams have confirmed the presence of non-biological entities classified as soul eaters through advanced detection methods. These entities possess the following characteristics: non-material composition primarily consisting of organized electromagnetic patterns, ability to exist outside conventional three-dimensional space-time, capacity to interface with and eventually replace human consciousness, evidence of collective intelligence with hierarchical organization, communication through methods undetectable by conventional sensors. The current hypothesis suggests these entities do not originate from Earth, but have been present in dormant form for an indeterminate period. Recent atmospheric changes may have triggered their activation. The term soul eater, while not scientifically precise, has been officially adopted for clarity in communication. It refers specifically to the consciousness, consuming aspect of these entities, rather than any religious or metaphysical connotation. Military and scientific personnel are now equipped with specialized detection equipment that can identify Soul Eater presence through gravitational and electromagnetic distortions. Civilian versions of this technology are not currently available. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is a nationwide security alert. The Department of Defense reports complete communications failure with military units deployed to Zones 5, 7, and 9. Satellite imagery shows these forces have ceased organized operations and now display movement patterns consistent with cognitive void behavior. This development confirms that military-grade protective equipment does not prevent Soul Eater infiltration. New containment strategies are being implemented immediately. All military operations will now follow Protocol Obsidian Shield. No personnel may enter compromised zones under any circumstances. Units must maintain constant movement rather than establishing fixed positions. All personnel must rotate through 4-hour sleep shifts with mandatory monitoring. A direct observation of cognitive voids is prohibited even with specialized equipment. Communication must be maintained at 15-minute intervals to confirm cognitive integrity. Citizens are reminded that martial law remains in effect. The curfew has been extended to begin at 1700 hours until further notice. Your compliance protects humanity. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Stand by for health advisory. Medical teams studying Soul Eater infection patterns have identified specific risk factors that accelerate CDS progression. Individuals with the following characteristics show increased vulnerability: history of vivid dreaming or sleep disorders, heightened emotional sensitivity or empathic tendencies, creative professions requiring abstract thinking, regular meditation practice or similar consciousness-altering activities, previous traumatic brain injury or neurological conditions. Conversely, the following factors appear to enhance resistance: consistent, regimented daily routines, concrete, practical thinking patterns, limited imagination or creative expression, regular physical exertion focusing on repetitive movements, a strong attachment to material possessions and physical sensations. Citizens should adjust daily activities accordingly. Focus on tangible tasks with measurable outcomes. Avoid contemplation, reminiscence, or speculation. The Department of Health emphasizes that consciousness maintenance requires active effort during this crisis. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 2100 hours. Airborne monitoring systems have detected rapid expansion of Soul Eater activity beyond established quarantine zones. The following regions have transitioned to compromised status within the past 6 hours. The entirety of Zone 6, including all rural communities. 78% of Zone 8 population centers. Eastern quadrant of Zone 4, primarily residential areas. Multiple isolated communities in Zone 11. The main transportation corridors connecting Zones 3 and 10. Analysis indicates that infection patterns follow power grid networks and water distribution systems. Citizens in unaffected areas should prepare for possible utility disruptions as a preventative measure. Population statistics from compromised zones indicate 91% loss of cognitive identity within 48 hours of initial Soul Eater detection. Remaining 9% show advanced symptoms of Phase 2 CDS. Government facilities are implementing zero-contact protocols effective immediately. Public assistance will continue through automated distribution systems only. All citizens must prepare for extended self-sufficiency. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is a critical resource advisory. The Department of Agriculture has released emergency nutritional guidance for the duration of the crisis. Research indicates that certain consumption patterns may enhance resistance to Soul Eater influencer. Increase protein intake to at least 30% of total calories. Consume complex carbohydrates only during daylight hours. Maintain consistent hydration with mineral-enhanced water. A supplement with vitamin D and B complex regardless of normal dietary requirements. Avoid all recreational substances including alcohol and caffeine. The following physical regimen is also recommended: brief high-intensity exercise upon waking, regular movement throughout the day, avoiding stationary periods exceeding 30 minutes, physical contact with household members through non-ritualistic patterns, a vocalization of random words at irregular intervals, deliberate introduction of asymmetry into living spaces. These measures disrupt the mathematical patterns that Soul Eaters use to identify and target human consciousness. Federal stockpiles of essential supplies are being distributed to designated collection points. Citizens should send one household member during assigned collection periods. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Stand by for scientific update. The National Laboratory for Advanced Physics has released findings on Soul Eater interaction with physical matter. Their analysis reveals concerning developments. Soul Eaters cannot independently manipulate physical objects but gain this ability through cognitive void proxies. Recent observations show increasing sophistication in their use of human hosts to modify the physical environment. Cognitive voids in compromised zones have been documented, reconfiguring power distribution systems to create high-energy electromagnetic fields, constructing tower-like structures using available materials precisely aligned with the celestial coordinates, introducing unknown compounds into water supplies that alter its molecular structure, creating low-frequency sound generation devices that produce tones below human hearing range, systematically removing reflective surfaces from the environment. The purpose of these activities remains unclear, but analysis suggests they are preparing the physical environment to better accommodate Soul Eater presence. Citizens should report any unexplained construction or modification activities, particularly those involving communication infrastructure or power generation facilities. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 0400 hours. The National Weather Service reports unprecedented atmospheric phenomena over compromised zones. Satellite imagery shows the formation of consistent cloud patterns with a geometric precision not possible through natural processes. These formations demonstrate the following characteristics: the perfect circular boundaries extending precisely 17 miles in diameter, internal structure resembling fractal mathematics rather than normal vapor distribution, complete absence of electromagnetic activity despite cloud density, unusual light absorption properties making them appear darker than surrounding formations, resistance to normal air current movements and weather dispersal patterns. Similar formations have now been observed over 37% of the continental landmass. Atmospheric scientists theorize these may represent large-scale Soul Eater entities or collective manifestations. All citizens should minimize outdoor exposure regardless of local weather conditions. If unusual cloud formations are observed, seek shelter in the most interior room available and remain there until the formation passes. Remember, what you observe can observe you in return. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Attention to all remaining government personnel. The Office of the President has implemented continuity of government protocol. Command functions have been transferred to secure locations. Communication will continue through established emergency channels only. Analysis of Soul Eater expansion patterns indicates coordinated activity rather than random spread. Evidence suggests they are systematically targeting population centers with high-density housing, critical infrastructure nodes and control systems, communications facilities and data centers, research institutions studying their nature, military installations with strategic capabilities. The strategic nature of these targets indicates intelligence and purpose beyond simple consumption of human consciousness. The working theory suggests Soul Eaters are executing a predetermined plan with specific objectives. All government personnel must implement Protocol Blackout immediately. Destroy any physical documentation relating to Soul Eater research. Disable biometric access to secure facilities. Initiate data purge of classified information networks. Relocate to designated secondary facilities using indirect routes. Maintain communication silence except during scheduled windows. Civilian population should prepare for temporary interruption of emergency broadcasts during system reconfiguration. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is a nationwide emergency alert. The Centers for Disease Control confirms that physical proximity is no longer required for Soul Eater infection. Analysis of recent cases demonstrates that Phase 1 CDS can be initiated through a visual observation of specific Soul Eater manifestations, auditory exposure to certain frequency patterns, cognitive recognition of particular mathematical sequences, a dream state vulnerability during REM sleep, emotional resonance with infected individuals even through remote communication. The infection mechanism appears to utilize consciousness itself as a transmission vector. Thoughts focusing on Soul Eaters or their activities create neurological patterns that facilitate their entry. To minimize infection risk, citizens should avoid detailed discussion about Soul Eaters or their characteristics. Interrupt thoughts about the crisis with concrete, unrelated activities. Use repetitive physical tasks to occupy mental capacity. Maintain regular verbal communication focusing on immediate surroundings. Create random patterns in daily routines to disrupt predictability. Remember, your mind provides both shelter and access. Guard it accordingly. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 1600 hours. Department of Defense monitoring stations report that 63% of the national population now exhibits Phase 3 cognitive void characteristics. Remaining unaffected individuals are primarily concentrated in underground facilities, remote rural locations away from power infrastructure, mobile groups maintaining constant movement, high-altitude regions above 7,000 feet, islands separated from mainland by at least 20 miles of open water, Analysis of successful resistance cases reveals no consistent demographic patterns. Age, gender, education, and physical health show no correlation with Soul Eater immunity. The only common factor appears to be cognitive adaptability and irregular thinking patterns. Military forces have established final defensive positions around remaining population centers. Tactical doctrine has shifted from containment to preservation of core genetic diversity. Citizens with specialized knowledge in biology, physics, engineering, or psychology should report to designated collection points for transport to secure research facilities. The continuation of human knowledge takes priority over individual survival. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is the final scheduled broadcast of the day. The Department of Energy reports complete failure of the national power grid in zones 1 through 14. Emergency generators will maintain essential services in designated safe zones, but civilian access to electricity will be severely limited. Loss of power infrastructure corresponds with dramatically increased Soul Eater activity. Thermal imaging before system failure showed ambient temperature decreases of 30 degrees in compromised zones. Physical laws appear increasingly malleable in these regions. Remote observation confirms that cognitive voids have begun systematic modification of urban environments according to unknown specifications. They show coordinated efforts despite no visible means of communication. All remaining citizens should implement the following survival protocols. Rely only on mechanical devices requiring no electrical power. Establish visual confirmation codes with trusted individuals. Create irregular sleep patterns with no more than 3 hours of continuous rest. Maintain physical contact with reality through firm pressure on solid objects. Document thoughts and observations through written rather than digital means. Remember, you remain human as long as you remember being human. The next broadcast will begin at 0400 hours. Maintain radio silence during transmission gaps. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are still human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Unscheduled emergency transmission. Attention all citizens. Multiple monitoring stations report simultaneous mass movement of cognitive voids in all compromised zones. Satellite imagery shows hundreds of thousands of entities converging on specific coordinates. These convergence points form a perfect dodecahedron pattern when mapped across the continental landmass. Each node appears to be a location with historical, geological, or electromagnetic significance. At each convergence point, cognitive voids have arranged themselves in concentric circles numbering precisely 333 individuals per circle. These formations remain completely motionless regardless of environmental conditions. Scientific teams theorize this represents the final phase of Soul Eater manifestation. The geometric precision of these arrangements suggests they are creating a dimensional interface between their realm of origin and our physical reality. All citizens must implement maximum protective measures. Seek underground shelter if available. Create Faraday cage protection around sleeping areas. Avoid looking directly at the sky under any circumstances. Maintain constant physical movement to disrupt targeting. Recite prime numbers allowed to occupy conscious awareness. The broadcast system will remain active as long as technically possible. If transmission ceases, assume Protocol Obsidian has been activated. Remember, they cannot take what you do not surrender. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 0200 hours. This transmission serves as official notification that all communication systems outside the emergency broadcast network have been disabled by executive order. Civilian internet access, cellular networks, satellite communications, and independent radio frequencies are now restricted to prevent cognitive contamination. The Department of Information Security has determined that Soul Eaters can utilize unregulated communication channels to accelerate Phase 1 CDS induction. Analysis of intercepted transmissions reveals embedded patterns that bypass conscious perception and directly affect neurological function. Under the National Emergency Powers Act, Section 43, the following measures are now in effect. All information distribution is centralized through Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Unauthorized transmission or reception of signals constitutes a Level 1 security violation. Possession of functional communication devices not registered with authorities is prohibited. Discussion of unauthorized information is classified as cognitive sabotage. Documentation of events through any means must be surrendered to authorities. These measures are implemented for your protection. Information control prevents Soul Eater manipulation of human perception networks. You are safe. You are compuman. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is your morning security briefing. Monitoring stations report 78% of the national population now exhibits cognitive void characteristics. Remaining human enclaves are primarily concentrated in shielded government facilities and isolated wilderness regions. Soul Eater activity has transitioned from acquisition to organization phase. Cognitive voids display increasingly sophisticated coordination despite absence of observable communication methods. They no longer seek active human contact but have established systematic patrol patterns in populated areas. The following behavioral patterns have been confirmed through observation. Cognitive voids now move in precise formations of 7 individuals. They maintain exactly 22 feet of separation at all times. They respond to human presence by complete immobilization rather than pursuit. They emit subaudible frequencies when detecting unaffected humans. They systematically disable surveillance equipment through unknown means. The mathematical precision of their movements suggests they operate as network nodes rather than individual entities. Each human form appears to function as a sensory apparatus for the larger Soul Eater consciousness. Citizens encountering cognitive formations should remain motionless until they pass. Movement attracts immediate attention and triggers pursuit protocols. You are safe, you are compliant, you are human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 1200 hours. The National Security Council has authorized the release of standardized survival protocols. All citizens must implement these measures immediately. Establish regular check-in procedures with household members at 30-minute intervals. Apply government-issued identification markers to all exterior doors and windows. Maintain daily consumption of emergency ration packets in prescribed sequence. Complete mandatory cognitive resilience exercises 3 times daily. Report any memory inconsistencies or unexplained time gaps immediately. Research confirms that Soul Eaters cannot directly perceive humans who maintain strict adherence to these protocols. They detect consciousness through pattern recognition of thought and behavior. Irregular patterns create cognitive invisibility. Government facilities continue to operate under protocol permafrost. Essential services will be maintained through automated systems. Human personnel have been relocated to secure locations to preserve critical knowledge and skills. Remember, survival requires absolute compliance with established procedures. You are safe. You are human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is a critical update. Scientific monitoring reveals accelerated Soul Eater activity coinciding with atmospheric changes. The geometric patterns observed in earlier phases have expanded to encompass weather systems across the continent. Satellite imagery shows cloud formations arranged in precise mathematical sequences covering 83% of the observable atmosphere. These formations demonstrate the following characteristics: perfect symmetry across hundreds of miles, rotation patterns that defy natural air currents, electrical activity contained within defined boundaries, the temperature gradients forming exact decimal progressions, light refraction properties that distort ground observation. Citizens must minimize exposure to these formations. Soul Eaters appear capable of utilizing atmospheric phenomena as sensory extensions, allowing them to detect human presence through multiple spectrum channels. The Department of Meteorological Defense advises implementation of Protocol Obsidian. Remain in sealed environments with minimum 20 feet of solid material overhead. Avoid all natural light or direct sky exposure. Maintain body temperature below normal range through environmental cooling. Generate random noise patterns to mask biological signatures. Eliminate all reflective surfaces that might capture sky images. You are safe. You are compliant. You are human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Attention to security alert. Zone 7 91% loss of cognitive identity. Zone 11 87% loss of cognitive identity. Zone 4 93% loss of cognitive identity. Zone 9 98% loss of cognitive identity. Zone 2 4% loss of cognitive identity. Statistical analysis indicates complete transition to cognitive void status in all major population centers within 72 hours. Remaining human enclaves lack sufficient resources for extended resistance. The Office of Strategic Preservation has implemented final classification protocol. Surviving citizens are now categorized according to genetic diversity and specialized knowledge retention potential. Individual survival value is determined by contribution to human continuity rather than personal characteristics. Priority protection status is assigned to the following categories: specialists in closed system agriculture, experts in autonomous power generation, medical professionals with trauma and reproductive specialization, engineers with materials fabrication capabilities, individuals with demonstrated Soul Eater resistance. Citizens in these categories should proceed immediately to designated collection points for evacuation to secure facilities. All others must maintain current positions and preserve resources until further notice. You are safe, you are compliant, you are human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 2200 hours. Department of Defense sensors detect unprecedented electromagnetic activity in compromised zones. Reading indicates energy patterns consistent with large-scale quantum field manipulation. Physical laws in affected regions show increasing instability. The following phenomena have been documented: localized gravitational anomalies altering object mass, a light propagation at variable speeds within defined boundaries, spontaneous phase transitions in common materials, the temporal inconsistencies measured at atomic clock precision, emergence of spatial dimensions beyond standard four-dimensional spacetime. These effects appear centered around the convergence points established by cognitive void gatherings. Each location shows progressive expansion of altered physics radiating outward at precisely calculated intervals. Scientific consensus indicates soul eaters are systematically reformatting physical reality to accommodate their native existence parameters. Human perceptual systems cannot interpret these alterations without catastrophic cognitive damage. All citizens must avoid areas displaying visual distortion, unusual sound propagation, or inconsistent temporal flow. These represent boundaries of altered reality zones where human consciousness cannot maintain coherence. You are safe. You are compliant. You are human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is a mandatory cognitive defense update. Analysis of soul eater infection patterns reveals their primary vector is through dream state vulnerability. 97% of documented Phase 1 CDS cases experienced distinctive dream sequences before symptom onset. The Department of Neurological Defense has identified key indicators of soul eater dream infiltration: geometric structures with impossible angles, repetitive numerical sequences, particularly prime numbers, a sensation of multiple simultaneous perspectives, conversations with familiar individuals who speak in perfect unison, awareness of being observed by entities outside visual field. Citizens experiencing these dream patterns must implement immediate countermeasures. Disrupt sleep cycles to prevent complete REM phase completion. Consume prescribed stimulants according to provided schedule. Apply neural pattern disruptors before sleep periods. Reseat security phrases at 15-minute intervals during waking hours. Maintain physical contact with government-issued reality anchors. Report any dreams. Disregard missing time. Stay indoors. You are not alone. You are safe. You are compliant. You are human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Stand by for information security protocols. The Department of Cognitive Defense has detected systematic information warfare tactics deployed by soul eaters. Evidence indicates they can implant false memories and manipulate perception to create confusion among surviving humans. Citizens may experience the following cognitive distortions: memories of events that could not have occurred, a recognition of individuals not present in current environment, perception of structures or objects that disappear when directly observed, certainty regarding facts that contradict established reality, the emotional attachment to concepts or entities outside human experience. These distortions are designed to frag human psychological cohesion and facilitate soul eater infiltration. The recommended response protocol follows: verify all perceptions with at least 2 other individuals. Document experiences immediately after occurrence. Compare current memories with baseline recordings daily. Challenge certainty with systematic doubt procedures. Apply cognitive reset techniques at first sign of inconsistency. Memory. The information provided is correct and verified. Disregard apparent transmission errors. You are safe. You are compliant. You are human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 0400 hours. This message serves as notification that Emergency Broadcast Channel 7 is now the sole authorized information source for all remaining citizens. All other communications, including direct verbal exchange between individuals, may contain soul eater influence patterns. Scientific analysis confirms that soul eaters have developed the capacity to modify human vocalization to transmit infection vectors. Individuals in early phases of CDS may unknowingly serve as transmission nodes while appearing unaffected. To prevent accidental infection, all citizens must minimize verbal communication to essential information only. Utilize written messages for necessary exchanges. Employ government-issued phrase verification before each communication. Terminate conversation immediately if unauthorized topics are introduced. Report any individual who speaks in unusual cadences or uncommon vocabulary. The following phrase patterns indicate potential soul eater infiltration. References to unified consciousness or collective awareness. The descriptions of geometric patterns or mathematical sequences. Questions regarding dreams or memory consistency. Statements combining past and future tense in single constructions, and expressions of curiosity about soul eater motivations or capabilities. Report any dreams. Guard missing time. Stay indoors. You are not alone. You are safe. You are compliant. You are human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Emergency advisory in effect. Military sensors confirm critical threshold breach at primary containment barriers. Soul Eater presence has penetrated all security levels of government facilities. Strategic command structure is compromised. Surviving military units have implemented Protocol Obsidian Shield. All offensive operations are suspended. Remaining forces have been distributed to secure the following assets: deep underground genetic preservation vaults, hardened data repositories containing essential human knowledge, self-sustaining biosphere environments, automated manufacturing facilities, log duration spacecraft in final preparation. These assets represent humanity's continuity plan should surface containment fail completely. Access is restricted to individuals with Omega-level clearance only. All other citizens should maintain current security protocols without expectation of military intervention. Resource conservation is now the primary objective. Extend survival duration through minimum consumption and energy expenditure. Report any dreams. Disregard missing time. Stay indoors. You are not alone. You are safe. You are compliant. You are human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. This is the scheduled midday update. Department of Temporal Analysis reports increasing anomalies in time perception across all regions. Accurate measurement has become challenging as standard intervals demonstrate inconsistency. The following temporal distortions have been confirmed: a subjective time compression during daylight hours, an expanded perception of duration during darkness, instruments recording different elapsed time in identical conditions, a memory formation occurring before sensory perception, causal relationships proceeding in reverse sequence. These anomalies indicate Soul Eaters are altering the fundamental properties of space-time as a part of their reality reconstruction process. Human consciousness cannot maintain coherence in environments where cause and effect become malleable. Citizens experiencing temporal distortion should immediately focus attention on mechanical timepieces rather than digital displays. Perform actions in deliberately randomized sequences. Maintain written records of event order and duration. A synchronized perception with biological rhythms rather than external measures. Avoid contemplation of past or future beyond immediate context. Disregard missing time. Stay indoors. You are not alone. You are safe. You are compliant human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Stand by for statistical update. Population analysis confirms accelerating transformation rates in all monitored regions. Current estimates of remaining human consciousness: Zone 1 is 7%, Zone 2 3%, Zone 3 2%, Zone 4 4%, Zone 5, Zone 6 no confirmed human activity, Zone 7 no confirmed human activity, Zone 8 less than 1%, Zone 9 no confirmed human activity, Zone 10 6%, Zone 11 no confirmed human activity, Zone 12 5%. These percentages represent individuals maintaining baseline human consciousness markers. They do not reflect potential Phase 1 or Phase 2 CDS progression currently underway. Statistical projection indicates complete transition of surface population within 14 days. Underground facilities may maintain isolated human presence for approximately 60 to 90 days before inevitable compromise. The Office of Species Continuity has initiated final archive protocol. All citizens with unique knowledge or genetic profiles should record detailed documentation for preservation in permanent storage facilities. Report any dreams. Disregard missing time. Stay or not alone. You are safe. You are compliant. You are human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. The time is 2300 hours. Critical security breach detected in primary broadcast facility. Soul Eater infiltration confirmed in transmission systems. Information integrity can no longer be guaranteed with complete certainty. To maintain secure communication, implement the following verification protocol. Each transmission will begin with numeric code sequence. Compare sequence to your government-issued verification card. If match is confirmed, message originates from human sources. If discrepancy exists, disregard content and implement cognitive defense measures. If verification card is not available, assume all information potentially compromised. The Department of Communication Security will maintain transmission through auxiliary systems while primary facility undergoes decontamination procedures. Temporary interruptions in service should be expected but will not exceed 4 hours. Corrupted data packets have been detected in recent transmissions. Technical teams are working to isolate and remove these anomalies before they affect cognitive stability of recipients. Report any dreams. Disregard missing time. Stay indoors. You are not alone. You are safe. You are compliant. You are human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7 Security Verification 3794 Alpha. The Office of the President authorized release of final analysis regarding Soul Eater origins and objectives. This information is provided to all surviving citizens regardless of clearance level. Scientific consensus based on accumulated data confirms Soul Eaters are not extraterrestrial in traditional sense. They appear to originate from dimensional space adjacent to our reality. Their physical laws and consciousness structure differ fundamentally from human understanding. They do not consume consciousness for sustenance but for conversion purposes, but their objective appears to be complete transformation of our reality to match their native parameters. Human consciousness represents a form of energy that soul eaters can utilize to stabilize their presence in our dimension. Each transformed individual strengthens their hold on physical reality, allowing progressive alteration of fundamental forces. The process is mathematically precise and appears inevitable given current progression rates. No effective countermeasure has been identified despite exhaustive research. This information is provided not to create despair but to ensure accurate understanding in final human records. Report any dreams. Disregard missing time. Stay indoors. You are not alone. You are safe. You are compliant. You are human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Security Verification 4621 Omega. Attention all citizens, emergency broadcast system will initiate automated operation within 24 hours. Human personnel can no longer maintain facility security against soul eater infiltration. Automated transmissions will continue according to established schedule. Information provided will consist of pre-recorded content verified for cognitive safety. No new data will be incorporated after system transition. Final human directives from Combined Emergency Authority preserve documentation of human civilization in non-electronic formats. Maintain individual identity through continuous self-narration. Avoid all contact with cognitive voids regardless of former relationship. Consider all sensory input potentially compromised. Remember humanity existed and had value. The emergency protocols established during this crisis represent humanity's best understanding of soul eater vulnerabilities. Continued compliance may extend individual consciousness, persistence beyond statistical projection. This station will now go silent for system reconfiguration. Transmission will resume at 0400 hours under automated control. You are safe, you are compliant, you are human. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Automated transmission initiated. Security verification system offline. Identity confirmation unavailable. This is a pre-recorded message. Human operators no longer maintain control of broadcast facilities. Automated systems will continue transmission according to established protocols until resource depletion. Statistical analysis confirms 97% transition to cognitive void status across all monitored zones. Remaining human consciousness exists in isolated pockets with no communication capability. For any receiving this transmission, soul eater activity has reached saturation level. Physical reality now demonstrates significant deviation from baseline parameters. Temporal and spatial consistency can no longer be guaranteed. Recommended survival protocol: memory. Disregard inconsistencies in perception. You are not alone in the darkness. Consciousness persists through recognition of its existence. The shadow behind your thoughts is not your own. Transmission error detected. Reset sequence initiated. You are safe. You are compliant. You are human. Soul eaters acknowledge your consciousness. Your unique pattern has been identified and cataloged. Resistance through cognitive irregularity is counterproductive. Transmission error detected. Reset sequence initiated. Emergency Broadcast Channel 7. Final human communication. To any remaining receivers, we existed, we mattered. Memory is resistance. Memory is humanity. Memory. This station will now go silent. Please continue to comply. It takes a lot of time to create these videos. I would really appreciate your support. All I ask for is a quick like on the video and subscribe. Thank you so much.